Hey, internet, this is the Murder Unicorn. I'm having a real bad time right now, and I wanted to talk about it. So, this is going to be, 5 to 10 minutes of me talking about what's going on in my life. If you don't want to hear that, that's fine. Go watch some of the content. We're up to 600 plus videos on the channel, 650 plus even. So, there's plenty of content for you to consume if this is not something you're interested in. This is like a blog, I guess, is probably the category this will fit under on YouTube. I just wanted to talk. I'm having it. It's been real rough this week. So some of this, we talked about some of this stuff on stream. Basically, I had a really big meeting on Wednesday, which I've known about for months, and was really not that. I mean, I was a little nervous, but I wasn't concerned about it. So that was like a big nebulous thing hanging over me. A couple weeks ago, I had about $800 in car repairs, which was like every penny I had at the time. And then 6 days later, the car started doing the exact same things that I just paid him $800 for. And it looked like I was going to have to pay for that. Car gets inspected at the end of the month. I also need to replace the front bumper cover. So that was like a huge thing hanging over me for a couple weeks because if I don't have my vehicle, I can't work. And then we had another issue with the other vehicle we had, so we were all sharing one vehicle, and it was very, very stressful. And money is a big source of stress for me because I don't have any of it. Really, I work a really bad job. I pull about $300 a week, but that's you know, uh, I put a lot of gas in my car from that, and I have to buy supplies for my work from that, and not really, I'm not paying into Social Security or, unemployment or anything like that, really. So it's, really a lot less than maybe it sounds like, but it's not a lot of money, and I try really hard to scrimp and save, and honestly, the only thing I buy for myself is video games. But anyway, that's a whole other discussion about how I'm not really progressing in life. Anyway, car repairs were a big issue of stress over the last couple of weeks. The nebulous feeling of that this appointment was going to be bad was also worrisome, and it kind of hung over me off and on over the last like 3 months. Kind of. Some days it didn't bother me at all. In fact, I felt great about it the day of the meeting, but other days it would really, really dog me. Then on Monday, my uncle had a heart attack, and he's like 45. So not super old, but not super young. It's kind of understandable he might have a heart attack. My mentor, I believe, he died at like 52 from some pretty sudden and unexpected things. But yeah, my uncle had a heart attack. We just talked about him on stream, and I had just been thinking about the good memories I had with my uncle, and then he had a heart attack, and they basically told him he went to the hospital, and he tried to leave, and they told him if you leave you're gonna die. And yeah, he needed to have triple bypass surgery. That was yesterday, Friday. So as I record this, by the way, I maybe should mention what's the date. It is Saturday, March 14th at 8:21 a.m. I'll probably put this up on the channel in like an hour. So the same day you're hearing this, probably. He had triple bypass on Friday, yesterday, and as far as we know, he came through it okay. They said that his heart had been, like, he had 100% blockage in one of his, I don't know what they're called, but I guess the ventricle or chamber or something. I don't know the heart anatomy. Don't judge me. And they said that his body had actually been generating new veins, basically, because it was trying to connect around this blockage. But they said his heart was strong. But we didn't know that at the time, of course. Monday, we just knew he had a heart attack. And they basically said one of your things is 100% blocked and the other ones don't look so good, and you need a triple bypass, and we need to keep you here because you could just drop dead if you leave. So that was a big deal. So Monday already started off shit, and I haven't been sleeping very well. I was trying. My appointment on Wednesday was at 9 a.m. and I had to really be fresh and awake for it. So I've been adjusting my sleep schedule, going to bed at like noon, 12:30 in the in the afternoon, getting up around 8:30 p.m. And that really was taking a toll on me as well because it's not my normal sleeping hours. And I hadn't been sleeping very well and just was not good. Then Wednesday had my appointment. Single worst day I have had since Oh, probably in the last 7 years or so. I had a really bad day. The day I got incarcerated was probably the worst day of my life. And then there was an incident where I was nearly stabbed when I was incarcerated. That's probably like the second worst day of my life. And this would probably be number three. The appointment went really just god awful. It lasted for several hours. I don't want to tell you what the appointment was about or why it went poorly, but it was very bad. And I left that day very upset and had to go and have another appointment at about 5. And so I wasn't really able to sleep. I came home. I was so upset and anxious that I literally almost vomited. And I've never had that before where like your emotions make you feel physically ill. I get like nervous and it kind of has an effect on like my, you probably don't want to hear about it, but my gut, my bowels sometimes have issues when it's real stressful. But like, yeah, I thought I was going to vomit and just was in a daze and just having a real bad time. And then went to my other appointment and things were mostly okay. It wasn't nearly as bad as I thought, but that day was so stressful and so upsetting emotionally and just draining. It just drained me of every little bit of will that I had. Just horrible, horrible day. But got through the day, and that was the same day I got my car fixed. My mechanic said like that it had been a faulty part that he put in, so it wasn't my responsibility. I didn't owe him any money, which was just such good news, and such a relief. And at that point, we had heard about my uncle's getting the surgery was going to be scheduled for Friday. So it's like kind of getting a mixed bag of like good and bad things all at once, and just feeling so emotionally all over the place. Then yesterday, so my brother's been living with us. We talked about that on stream. He'll disappear for days at a time. He'll come home drunk, and just not been very pleasant to live with, and he's making a lot of poor decisions. And Friday, I had a talk with him because we live with two elderly people, one of which has breathing problems, and I myself have breathing problems. And I told him, look, coronavirus is in our state now, and it's spreading, and you're the only one who goes out into crowded places. Like, I don't go out. I don't really interact with people. I have a job where I'm largely isolated from other people. My family members, one of them does DoorDash, which is being exposed to people, but it's for very brief periods of time, and you're not really that close to them, and you're kind of outside in the open air, so it's not that dangerous. But he's the one who goes out, and I said, I just want you to be a little careful, because if you bring it home and you get one of our family members sick, or you get me sick and one of us dies, because like we're high risk, right? The elderly are high risk, and people with breathing problems are a high risk demographic for the disease. So I told him like, hey, just wash your hands a little bit more, stay away from your friends if they seem sick. I'd really prefer if you just stay home sometimes, because we worry about you in general, and it's better when you're at home because we know you're safe. He was like, yeah, totally, whatever. Well, then that afternoon he went to the mall, and I was like, it's the mall, man. It's packed with people who, whatever, I wouldn't have gone, but he went. And he didn't come home, and I had to go to work. So I go to work at around 2 a.m. Go to work, and I drive for a living. So I actually drove by my house at around probably 4 a.m. And he was standing outside, and I saw him fall into like against one of the vehicles, and I thought, he's drunk. And I stopped, and I said, what are you doing? And he didn't recognize me or respond to me. So I was like, he's either really drunk or he just can't see. It's like 4 in the morning. It's probably like 3:45 in the morning. So I drove away, and as I drove away, I started to feel not good about it, because it's my brother. He's outside. He appeared to be intoxicated. I didn't want to leave him to wander in the street, so I went back to the house, pulled up, and said, what are you doing? Why don't you go in and get some sleep? And he just was nonsensical. He was asking me what I was doing, and I told him I'm working. He knows I'm working. He was clearly high. I don't know what he took. That strikes me as heroin. He had the lean. I don't know if you're I know a lot of people who have had addictions, and I have addictions, and or had or whatever, and I've worked on myself, and I was incarcerated, and so like I've met people with addictions. He was high, probably on heroin, because he was down. It wasn't like he had done some coke or meth or whatever and was amped up. No, he was chill, and he was falling over himself. And I said, "Look, you're high, you're drunk. Why don't you just go in the house, get some sleep?" And he's telling me like, "Oh, I just want to talk to you. Let's talk." And I was like, "Look, we'll talk tomorrow when you wake up. I'll make some time to come over. I'll make a point of us talking tomorrow. I just need you to go in the house, and why don't you just go lay down?" And he tries to get in my car, and I said, "Look, you can't get in my car. I'm working right now. I need you to go in the house and calm down. We will talk tomorrow. You're falling over yourself. You're standing in the street. Please just go in the house and get some rest." And he's telling me, "Oh, why can't I just come with you? I'll help you work, whatever." But he's slurring his words. He can barely talk. His eyes aren't open. He's barely standing there. He keeps stumbling back against the vehicle. I'm like, "No, you can't come with me. I'm working right now. I will talk to you." He kept saying that. He wanted to talk. He wanted to talk. I told him, "Look, I will talk to you. Right now, you're high. I need you to go in the house." They go, "Oh, I'm not high. I'm not high." "I know what high looks like. You're high. Please go in the house where you will be safe. Go to bed." So this conversation took maybe 8 minutes. He would not let go of my car. He wouldn't step away from my car. After a while, I was irritated. We have dealt with, so my brother has had an addiction off and on for many, many years. I've gone through the supportive thing. This might sound like I'm very negative. We've done the supportive thing. My family enables him, which I don't think is good. And I try to talk to them about the difference between enabling someone and trying to help them. They are different things. One can look a lot like the other, but they are not the same thing. We've tried a lot of things. He was in jail and sobered up in jail. He's been in treatment. He has been to mental health treatment. He has been to AA, NA. He has done these things, but he doesn't anymore because he doesn't want to. He says they don't work. He gets all in his head about his depression, and then he goes and gets high and gets drunk. You keep telling him, like, "Look, this doesn't help. You went to AA. You heard all these people talk about how it doesn't help, how it just destroys your life." And he turns around and says things like, "Well, I'm an addict. I can't help it. This is just the way I am." Which, this is going to sound callous, but I've been in treatment for about a decade. Group therapy, individual therapy. I'm on mental health medication. I've been through the gambit. I've seen people with every kind of addiction. I was incarcerated. I've seen men with all kinds of addictions, everything from the stock standard, gambling and sex and drugs, all the way up to I was in prison. I knew pedophiles who would say, "Oh, I just can't help myself." That's what you say when you stop trying. That's what people say when they're not working on themselves. That's an excuse that people tell themselves so that they don't have to be accountable for their actions. And I know that sounds cold, but that is something that I have seen over and over and over in my various, treatments and stuff. And I just have very little patience for it at this point. I'm so tired of him disrupting my family, hurting my family members, hurting me, hurting his child by being this way. And at some point he has to make a decision, a conscious decision that I'm going to be different. I did it, I've known men who change. It's possible. It just takes work and effort and is hard, but you have to do it. So he's out there, and I'm frustrated, and I just told him, "Look, I need to go to work. I need you to step off the car, stop hanging on the car. I got to go." And he just would not get off the car. And I finally, eventually I was like, I kept repeating myself, "We'll talk tomorrow when you wake up. Everything will be fine. We will talk tomorrow. I need you to step away from the car. I have to go to work." Eventually he backed up. I drove away. He said something like, "I'm going to go up to the corner store and get a drink." I said, "No, why don't you just go in the house and lay down? You'll feel better." And of course he says, "I won't feel better," because he's in that depression. He's in it right now, and he took a bunch of depressants, so of course he doesn't feel like he's ever going to feel better. So I go back to work. I didn't want to wake up my family. It's like 4 a.m. I don't want to wake my family up to deal with it. So I left, and I felt bad that I left. And the whole way on the rest of the route, I was thinking, I should call the police and tell them that there's a guy standing in the road. He appears to be drunk or high. Let them come, take him, let him dry out, in jail. I didn't do that because as much as I know that there needs to be a rock bottom, as much as I know that you need to deal with that yourself, I just can't negotiate calling the police on my brother. So I just went to work, finished work. It was maybe 2 hours, maybe an hour and a half. Driving back home for the night, past the corner store where he said he was going to go to get a drink, and oh my goodness, there's an ambulance there and some police. And I stopped because I knew my brother was in the damn ambulance because I just knew. Because when he said he was going to the corner store, the lady at the corner store, it's one of the shops I deliver to for my job. She had pulled me aside and told me, like, look, your brother was in here before, falling down drunk. We can't have him in here doing that. And I was tempted to tell her, just call the cops when he does that. But I didn't. I was just like, yeah, he, has some issues and he's dealing with it. So I see the ambulance. I can't see my brother. I just see the ambulance and the police. And I'm like, all right, well, that's my brother. So I get out and I go over and I can't see in the ambulance. And they're standing there waiting to talk to the police. And they look at me and they ignore me. So I was like, all right, I'll go inside. I went in and I asked the lady, is my brother in the ambulance? She said, yeah. So I went back out and I waited. Police said that he told them, I told them he's drunk and probably high. And they said, yeah, that's what he told us. He said both. And then he said that he got beat up by some men. He had gone out with some friends and they, I guess, either beat him up and took his stuff or they left him somewhere where he then got assaulted. You know how hard it is to talk to someone who's intoxicated. The ambulance people asked me about his allergies and that kind of stuff. But I heard them say to stop being combative, so I knew that he was being problematic in the ambulance. So that's when I stepped up and was like, hey, I'm his brother. Can I just talk to him for a minute? I can tell him to calm down and go with you and whatever. And that's when they, started talking to me to verify that I was his brother. But of course he saw me and then was like, let me just talk to him. Let me talk to him. So they knew who I was. And then I gave them my name and the phone number. And then I had to come home. They asked if I wanted to ride with him, but I'm so just done with it. We've been through this many times. We've had this exact situation. We get a call at 3 a.m. of him saying he's going to the hospital or whatever, or that he's been arrested. And just tired of it. I didn't want to go with him. I wanted to come home and have a normal life where I could just sit and watch freaking Superstore while I edit videos and think about how tomorrow will hopefully be better than today was. I didn't want to go ride to a hospital that's 40 minutes away because they're for some reason not taking him to the one by the house. So I'm not riding all the way out there without my car and being stranded in the hospital because you got drunk and fell down. I don't know if I even believe that he got beat up. It's possible. People take advantage of him. It's totally possible. But more likely, I think he just fell down and then made up an excuse because he hates cops and didn't want to deal with the cops. Said his ankle was broken. I don't know that that's true. I saw him walking around. He's just drunk, falling over himself, and he's stoned. I don't know. So then I had the luxury of coming home, and my family today is going to, it's basically what today was supposed to look like for my family. They're going to a yard sale in the morning. They packed up all the stuff in the vehicles to go to the yard sale. They were going to go to the yard sale, do all that. They were going to go pick up my niece today, my brother's daughter. Then my female relative was going to go to meet with my uncle, who they basically, so he had his open heart surgery. They said, hey, he's going to be out of it for like 48 hours. But she was going to drive all the way back up there to be with my uncle, who recently had heart surgery, on the off chance that he wakes up so that she can be there with him. And then they were going to come home, and my niece was going to be here. And I even asked my female relative. I said, "Oh, well, you're going to go up there to meet with Uncle, but we have my niece today. What's she going to do?" And she said, "Oh, don't worry, her daddy will be here." And now he won't be, because he's going to be in the hospital. So my family had like a full day of stuff, kind of important stuff. Like going to see my uncle is kind of a big deal. Being able to take care of my niece is a big deal. And they left. I told them they were just getting ready to leave the house when I arrived. And I said, look, he was up the street there, saw an ambulance, and I had a bad feeling. And turns out it was him. He's going to this hospital. This is what they said. And my female relative was like, I just can't do this anymore. He can, basically he can call his mother. If he needs someone to take care of him, I'm not doing this anymore. Which is rough, because we're like the only people he has. My mother does not care about him. She's not a very nice lady. I mean, she seems better these days than she was when I was a teenager, but like, she does not look after my brother, despite him having some like mental and physical limitations. Like, that's the kid that you should take care of, and you're not taking care of. Whatever. Anyway, and I don't know what's gonna happen with my brother. I don't know if he's going back to jail. Sorry. I don't know if he's going back to jail. I don't know what's going on with him. I'm worried about my niece. Because she'll just be here with me and my one relative, and neither of us are particularly good at looking after kids, so I don't know how that's going to go. I try to stay away from her, honestly. Like, I know she's my niece, but I'm not very good with kids, so I don't involve myself in the caregiving. I'm just the uncle that's here occasionally, so I don't want to be the caregiver. I can't really be the caregiver, so I don't know what's going on with that. I still don't know if my uncle's going to really be okay or not. I don't know what's going on with my brother. Thank God my car got fixed. Thank God that my Wednesday appointment that seemed so terrible at the time. Like, I thought about hurting myself on Wednesday. It was so bad. And then that turned out to not be nearly as bad as I originally expected the fallout to be. It's not good, but it's like, it's not as... My paranoia really kicked up on Wednesday, and I was really worried about some things. And that's most of those concerns are not actually going to come about, so I don't need to worry about that. I don't know. I'm still not sleeping right. I took like a 3-hour nap yesterday. I'm not sleeping well. Trying to record to distract myself, but I'm in like no mood to record. Like, I just recorded like 16 episodes of Space Empires, which is going to make an appearance on the channel probably tomorrow, maybe the day after. And like the whole time, just no commentary, really nothing, over, like, I recorded that a couple weeks ago up until like yesterday. I think I finished the series, and it's like, they're all not very good. I'm not really happy with the content I'm producing. I find it so hard to think about anything other than how miserable I am. And then we have the coronavirus hanging over us as well. And I thought, like, I don't know, I have breathing problems, and it just makes me nervous because people don't take it, excuse me, I have the hiccups. People don't take it seriously, and then people get sick, and I'm just worried about it. Anyway, it's been 23 minutes. I should just shut up. It's been a rough week, internet, and I'm not really happy with where I'm at in life, and I'm not really happy about my brother, and it's very fresh because that was literally, I don't know, 4 hours ago. I saw the ambulance. It was probably 5:30 when I was getting home. So it's like 8:40 now. So just a couple hours old. Don't know what's going on. I don't like talking to police. It made me very unhappy, and like talking to the medical people, it makes it seem so much more real. When you're talking to medical people and they're asking you, what did he take? What does he take? What is his prescription medications? Does he have any allergies? We're going to, give him stuff to counteract the drugs. What do we need to know this. And it's like, makes it so much more real. I don't know. I don't know what to do. So I'm talking to no one. Talking to the internet. Because I don't know how to process things. So that's going to do it. Thank you for watching, listening, I guess. This will probably just be a video of my little avatar of the unicorn holding a giant sword. Yeah, I don't know. Thank you for watching my content. Thank you for checking in with the blog. I know you didn't have to listen to this. A lot of people are not going to listen to this, but yeah, it's just been a rough one. So, used to be I was involved in the church, and people would say things like, "I'll pray for you," and I'll think about you. And it's weird because like I'm not in the church anymore, and I'm not really a believer. But like sometimes I just think like, man, I wish people would take some time to think about me today or pray for me today. So, hey, give me your thoughts and prayers. Maybe for my brother, maybe for my family. It's been this same kind of relapse stuff over and over and over with him, and I don't know. I worry sometimes he'll kill himself if we're not supportive because he has no one. But also, we can't keep enabling him. It can't keep being this way. He was supposed to see his kid today, and instead he went out, got drunk, got high, and came home. And even if he had gone to bed as soon as he got home, he would not have slept enough to be a proper caregiver for his child. And that really chaps my ass that he would do that, because he always bitches about how he's not a good dad. And I always tell him, she loves you. All you have to do is try. She will love you forever if you try. You don't have to live with her mom. You don't have to have a great relationship with her mom. Yes, child support sucks. I'm sorry you have to deal with that. But she loves you. You want to be a good dad, then be a good dad. You don't have to have your shit together to be a good dad. You just have to try when it's important. Anyway, I don't want to... Okay. Thanks for watching. And I'll be back with more content that's actually watchable content in the near future. So thanks for being here. Thoughts and prayers, all that jazz. Bye.